was right here on this mesa that I made a life-changing discovery about myself.
Welcome to Shreddy or Not. We're Greg and Renee. On this channel, we share silly shenanigans, big rides, and hard races, and some good times with friends. But today, we're going to share something a little more heartfelt.
Since I was a young adult, I've known that I've experienced the world predominantly through a lens of fear. That has not kept me from doing things that give me a lot of fear. In fact, I would say it's pushed me to do things that are really fear-invoking for me and to figure out how to move through them and enjoy them. And a big part of that journey has happened in the context of mountain biking. It was several years ago that I first became acquainted with the power of visualization. I remember watching Adam Ondra lying on the ground, visualizing routes and moving his body through the position of them before he had ever climbed them. And this was his attempt at preparing himself to flash some of the hardest routes. I was really intrigued by that process, and it led me to look at some peer-reviewed literature, and I discovered that actually in the literature it is true that through visualization you can do things with your mind and your body that you haven't actually experienced yet. So a couple years ago I set a goal for myself to visualize myself mountain biking with flow and without fear. And I did this every single day in my morning meditation. Well, it was so pleasant that I sort of overtook my meditation. For about 2.5 months, almost all of my morning meditations, 10 to 20 minutes, were just visualizing myself flowing on a mountain bike. And out of that came this incredible discovery that happened right here on this mesa almost 2 years ago. I showed up for spring break, having not been on a mountain bike for several months and having only done these visualizations. And I showed up here to some trails that historically were very fear-invoking for me. And I realized that my fear brain was not being triggered. I was flowing. I was putting a foot down. I was not upset about it. I would keep going. I had more patience. I had more perseverance. And I indeed had more control of my rational brain over my fear brain. Not only was I able to manage my fear brain, I didn't even feel my fear brain activating the way that it had before. And I know that that process was due to that visualization. So in this video, I want to share with you my 3 major reflections throughout my journey addressing my fear and befriending my fear in mountain biking. Reflection number 1. Trust your rational brain. Sometimes when your fear brain is going fear, 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 you want to not trust your rational brain that says, oh, I better listen to my fear and not do the thing. And sometimes you want to override that and say, no, I can do this. My fear is irrational. A few years ago, I rented a Rocky Mountain bike. I still had a hardtail Specialized, but I rented that bike and came on this trail. And when I was coming up this trail, Greg came up right in front of me and hopped onto this rock, knowing that it wasn't the trail.
Literally this rock right here. I stopped right there, exact spot.
Stopped for the view. He jumped up on this rock for fun, but I, just imagining that the trail was where he was going, started coming up there, and right on that steep section right there, realized this wasn't the trail, and I stopped and I hit my brakes and I fell off of this rock at this high point, couldn't put a foot down, and hit my tailbone smack right there in that sandy little rocky pit. And let's just say trip was over and I was over for about 3 weeks. So this is one example of how I learned to trust my rational brain. When my rational brain says, I'm too afraid, or ooh, that doesn't look right, it's okay. It's okay to trust that and say, oh wait, hold on. Let me look at this. Oh wait, actually I can get up that rock. Let me go back and try again. Or, ooh, let me not do that. That actually looks like something that I don't have my skill set well developed for that. I'm too far away from the car to try that. Whatever the case is. So there's this balance between listening to your rational brain. Whether it's physical capability and skill set or emotional readiness and skill set, either way, it is what it is and it's real. So whatever you feel, it is real. Trust it and meet yourself where you're at and move from there. Let's see. Oh, look at that guy. If I come down here, I can go down that. So this is where I've been learning about fear brain. And the interesting thing is that your amygdala, your limbic system, is really good at alerting you when something is unfamiliar. And that unfamiliarity is what triggers the fear brain, so to speak. So I'm learning how to use my rational brain to say, yep, that's unfamiliar, that feels uncomfortable. And then using my rational brain to say, oh, I got this. That's unfamiliar, but now I see it. It's a little more familiar. I can do this. The familiar part is that I've done things that look similar. I know how to do that. I've been somewhere similar, or I've been here once I look at it. So it's pretty interesting. The unfamiliar is uncomfortable. And I think that I have definitely been learning how to be more comfortable with the unfamiliar and trust my rational brain to evaluate it well. All right. I'm going to stay right instead of following those rocks all the way to the left. Here we go. Reflection number 2, patience. Patience has really been about creating space between the external stimuli and the internal response. And what patience looks like while I'm mountain biking is sessioning. That's what it looks like. And inside of me, it's actually saying, oh, okay, I don't have to feel bad because I can't do this. I can instead choose to go back, look at it again, look at it a couple times, watch someone else go down it, decide if I want to do it, bring in the trusting of my rational brain, listening to my fear brain, what is it telling me, and how do I want to respond to it. And so while patience usually looks like sessioning, it's a lot more than that for me. It's really been a process of allowing myself to pause and take the space between the feature and my reaction to it and decide actively how I want to evaluate it with my rational brain and my fear brain. So here is my moment of patience. I've always been sketched out to go down this hill, and I don't know how many times I've been here. Probably this might be my 4th time. And I think the first 2 times I did not go down this. I turned around and went back over here around this much less intimidating. Patience. Patience to go back and look, patience to say no, and patience to say yes. Hey, not even scary. See, that used to feel terribly scary to me. Reflection number 3. Perseverance. The thing about perseverance that has really intrigued me is that in any one given moment, perseverance is actually discomfort. What I've noticed is that I don't actually know in any one given moment that I'm persevering for the long haul, but it's when I pause to look back over time and see how far I've come, then I realize that that long-term perseverance is what has gotten me to the point that I'm at right now. While perseverance is often talked about as like in any one given moment, having grit or having a growth mindset. Yes, and it's much more than that. It's a long-term process of being uncomfortable, of being so uncomfortable that you want to improve, that you want to see some change. So what perseverance has looked like for me in mountain biking is showing up to a place like this once a year, every 2 years sometimes, and realizing, wow, I've come so far. Perseverance is interesting because in any given moment, perseverance is pretty uncomfortable. Like for me, it's kind of synonymous with discomfort. I'm like, oh, I'm persevering. I'm actively choosing to be in this discomfort and recognize that it's uncomfortable. And that's how I feel a lot trying these new trails, mountain biking like this. I'm not sure, I guess, if I went that way faster. But the beauty of perseverance is the long game. That at some point in your journey with the thing that you're persevering in, you realize your success. You become aware of how far you've come. And for me, that's what this trail is. I only come here sometimes once a year, every 2 years. Not very often. I think I've been here 4 times. And every time I come, I notice my progress and how the perseverance and how my perseverance with myself and my skills and the progress of mountain biking has helped me like throughout the year or 2 since the last time I was here. And it's cool to have those like markers, because sometimes the progress with the perseverance is a lot less noticeable on a familiar trail because you're there, and it's like watching your kid grow up. When you don't see someone for a long time, you're like, wow, you've grown so much since the last time I saw you. But if you're around them all the time, you only notice it once in a while in certain moments, in certain ways. So yeah, perseverance is a funny thing.
We hope you enjoyed this video and these reflections. If you are interested in seeing more of our mountain biking content, click here for one of these videos, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Shred Or Not.